Okay, cool.
I'll
Okay.
share it.
All right, so now recording there, and now we're gonna go to the Facebook icon. Okay, we are going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we are actually live right now. Hey, welcome Facebook and YouTube family. We're just gonna let YouTube, let me put a title in. Episode 5, discussion. Okay. Through wholesaling. And it should be populating on your side right now, Brett.
Yeah, what stinks is sometimes when I try to tag other businesses, I don't know if you have to like my page. Because it doesn't pop
That's
up.
interesting. Because I'm gonna tag a few people right now, and hopefully
It's at Real Housing Relief, right?
yes. Oh no, it should be at Earl McCrae.
Oh, you want me to do your personal page? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't gotten that far advanced. I haven't used my business page.
Come on. Why not?
I got to get on it, man. I got to get on it. I say, hey, Brett, we are 100% just so stoked that you're here today. I don't want to waste any time. This is our 5th episode. And really what we wanted to try to do with this podcast is, as we kind of, are failing our way forward, we're learning a few things. And there's certain times that we will get people on social media that will reach out to us and kind of ask, hey, how would you do this? How would you do that? And we're 100% transparent.
Yeah.
We don't always know. But we figured, hey, if we interview some guys that actually know, we could point them in that direction. So that's kind of how we got to this point in our podcast. So, let us.
It all depends who you're comparing yourself to, right?
Absolutely.
Because I know very little too. Just depends on who I'm standing next to.
Well, that's the business, right? The business is just figuring it out as you go, and that's kind of the blueprint of, I think, most entrepreneurs. So, hey, man, I don't want to take any of your thunder, so let's jump into it, man. One of the things that I always ask our guests, is how did you get into real estate? What kind of was your entry point?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So after my first failure at Fisher, and that was for a reason, I took some time off from school and I actually started learning a trade. I learned how to paint. So we were painting properties out in Cobblestone Creek. I don't know if you know where that is out in Victor, but really very high-end properties. They were building them pretty frequently back then. And I had never seen homes like that before. And I was like, holy crap, people live in houses like this? Like, what and where am I? And it's literally ever since then, I was just really intrigued with just the design and architecture and just, it's so weird because there's no relatable context other than it's just a home, right? It wasn't considering real estate investing, but I was just super interested. Like, how do these guys build these homes? Where'd the money come from? How much money would they make selling them and things like that? And then kind of just got plugged in. It took a long time, to be honest with you, for me to even take that step, but it was just getting plugged into AREA that you guys are all aware of, Freedom First Real Estate and Investment Association. And if there's any advice that I would give to anyone getting started, is just don't try to make money, make connections.
If you're not taking notes, you should. Don't try to make money, make connections. That is a super awesome point. So I'm turning my mic on and off. It feels like we're having a tsunami come down out here. So I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to share the screen. I want to talk a little bit about this phenomenal book you put together.
Thank you.
If I can share the screen here. Yeah. So we got this book.
No, this is like the very first rough draft of this book, and we had someone working on this project, and it should have been like a 2-week, not even a 2-week project, and it went about 6 weeks where we're finally like, all right, and they were cutting it close to this podcast, so we got it done as much as we could for this. You are muted, Earl.
I sure am. So let me turn my microphone back on. So tons of questions came out. You know, it was just a really quick read for me, but it was like one of those things I said, man, 9 months ago when we first started this journey, myself, Ambrose, and Kivo, I wish we had this in our hands.
Man, that's awesome. Thank you.
That was just, oh my God, it was such a good read. So I just had a couple things I jotted down. So like in chapter 1, you talk a little bit about marketing and lead generation. So what would you say the big idea or the big takeaway that you would have a newbie wholesaler walk away with?
Yeah, even as I guess you could call me a seasoned investor. I don't know what to call myself. God, there's so many distractions. Like so many CRMs, so many platforms, so many people who provide skip trace services, call services. There's a saying, KISS, keep it stupid simple, or keep it super simple. You could move around the S's, but keep it simple, man. Go to network, like find an investor and learn from them and bird dog for them. Like do your dues, man. And you don't need a huge market. I mean, you could go, like I'm doing this right now, I'll give a secret. Like right now I want to make more connections locally. And one way to do that is just cold call people. So I'm just cold calling people. Some people I've talked to, some, agents I've talked to in the past, but just picking up the phone and just saying, hi, this is who I am. How's it going? Man, it seems like you're doing some amazing things. Like, is there an opportunity to learn from you? Is there anything you need help with? I told you that quote the other day, you want to make $1 million, help 1 million people. So when people get started in real estate, their first thing that they do is typically ask for something. Now, like if a stranger comes up to me and says, hey, can you give me $100,000? I'm gonna be like, no, I don't even know you. Who are you? Why would I give you $100,000? So people, this business can be very transactional, and it can be very relational. Transactional business won't last. What I mean by that, people just do it to make money as fast as they can for as long as they can. A relational business is someone who cultivates relationships. They might not make as much money as fast as the other person, but they'll make a lot more in the long run. So like build and cultivate relationships with people that do have money and work with them. And when you make money from doing deals with them, then you can start budgeting for your own marketing or continue to partner with them and save that money to purchase your first rental.
Man, you dropping some gems of wisdom, man. I like that. I wrote that. I'm in my notebook right here, brother. And most people, they come at me. I'm old school, man. I'm taking notes. Don't make money, make connections. I love it. So I also picked this up from chapter 1. So you mentioned the value of tracking your leads. From a standpoint of being able to do some KPIs. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so KPI is a key performance index that basically calculates, your cost per lead. So if you're spending a certain amount of money, it'll tell you, like how many times you touch someone, or how many impressions you've made, and how many impressions it takes to get them on the phone, from a phone to an appointment, and from an appointment to a sale. So I'm not a data guy. I got a KPI KPI tracking from one of my masterminds. They had it all built out, but you know, I was telling you earlier that like I'm a visionary. I'm not a data process guy, so I had to actually work with someone to get that functioning for my business. So, you know, you can calculate those. You can, I mean, it's simple math. You can calculate it in a spreadsheet. You know, like how many phone calls did you make today? Out of those phone calls, how many people answered? Out of how many people answered, how many people did you get to say yes, and so on and so forth. So you wanna, if you're not tracking that, you can easily waste money on marketing that's not working for you. And I've done it. I've spent a lot of money in marketing in the past because I wasn't tracking those things, and it was just like, oh my gosh, they're worth $30,000 though. It's serious. I mean, you can easily just, I mean, if you're spending $2 or $3 grand a month and not tracking it, you could be wasting all that money, and it's not even doing anything for you.
Appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to pass the conversation over to Ambrose.
Hey, Brett.
I'm Ambrose, man. How you doing, dude?
Hey, man. Thank you for taking the time out to, conversate with us.
Yeah, man.
All right. So for my first question, right, in chapter 2, you talked about negotiating tactics, right?
Yeah.
So it brought me straight back to the book, Never Split the Difference.
Oh, yeah. Great book, man. Awesome.
Yeah. Could you please tell us more about that, please?
Yeah. So if I could give you, I'm trying to, I mean, I'm taking a sales training right now. If you guys don't know who John Martinez is, he's probably one of the top sales trainers right now. And even on his YouTube videos, I think it's like Midwest Rev, check him out on YouTube. But people are motivated beyond price. And the best way, I guess it goes even farther than negotiating. It's really finding why someone is selling. You know, someone may say, well, I'm just, I just want to see what you will pay. Well, you want to follow up with, well, what's the reason for calling me today? Well, I'm considering moving. All right. And say, well, what does that look like to you? Well, my family lives down in New Orleans and I want to go take care of them. And you can, from that book, you can mirror them, take care of them, go deeper into that conversation and really pinpoint. And by the end of it, you might find out that, that they're behind on taxes. They haven't paid their last 3 mortgage payments. But one of the biggest things that I learned from John Martinez, and I kind of learned this on my own, is all people are inherently misleading. And the best example I can give you is someone like, okay, I want to go buy a car, right? Like I'm dead set I'm going to buy this car. I go to the dealership, I'm looking at that car, and the sales rep walks up to me. What do you think I say to him? Come on, what do you usually say to a sales rep when a sales rep approaches you?
I'm just looking.
I'm just looking.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, but you're misleading that salesperson because you are feeling the perceived pressure of the traditional sales process, and people don't like to feel uncomfortable. So when they feel uncomfortable, they don't reveal all of the truth. And it's up to you to ask questions to actually paint a picture of what's actually happening, so you can come in and make an offer that really suits what they need. So you're structuring individual deals based on not only price. It goes far beyond price. That's why investors like us can buy properties at steep discounts, because realtors, and I'm going to probably get killed for this, realtors think all people are motivated by price. They are not. They are not. Some people will drop their price 20 or 30,000 for 3 different things, and we can go into that later. But people care more about other things than price. And if you can give them more value than price, they will do a deal with you at a discount.
That's right. Yeah, man. Definitely negotiating is definitely one of the factors that you need to master in this business as well. So that's a great point. So in chapter 2, you also mentioned talk tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So in our post-COVID-19 period, right? What are some of the sellers that you have been targeting?
Gosh, we have like 8 different lists. I like to target individual owners across all my lists. I don't target corporations or LLCs. So like here's an interesting list. You have a single family owner who's out of state. So on paper, it looks like they actually live in that home still, but they don't. Those are the most difficult deals to do because it's often, I mean, I have a whole list of properties where we can't figure out who the owners are yet, but they're vacant and they're listed as owner occupied. So, and just like you guys are probably targeting some of the same people, but you have a high equity list, you have your tax list, probate, foreclosure. I mean, we have some, what we do is, and this is kind of one of the platforms I use, and I can share this with you guys. I'm not, I really don't like to sell people on things, but I have an affiliate code for PropStream where you can get 7 days for free. But we take our lists, and what we did was created a specific avatar of who we want to target. So we take the list that you're marketing to and break that down 5 or 6 levels deep. And we really make that niche. So you might be targeting, this bigger list than us, but we're really focusing on a much smaller list that we think is motivated to sell now. And that's a great software to do that because it actually it automates properties that fit that criteria. So it'll tell you if the home gets listed on the MLS. It'll tell you if a property gets sold. It'll tell you if a property gets added to that list. So it's kind of like live data. It's probably one of the most the coolest features that I found in a product like that, and it really helps us to narrow down our list. And the best thing is, like, when you're looking to get started, you have to figure out your the cost of spending. So it's $100 a month, right? But what if that saves you $100 a month? Because now you're not marketing to this big list. Now you've made it even smaller, and now you can afford to spend money on a tool that'll not only help you find and build lists, but pull comps on properties.
Thank you. Definitely, like you said, and I think that was one of the things I really find, that was really helpful. When I first started, I was all over the place. I didn't really understand sellers to target because I was just targeting to everybody, foreclosure and everything like that. And once we really understand the market and we started targeting the correct sellers, and everything just started falling in place.
Yeah, Ambrose, man, you just really hit the nail on the head because I think I spent a year, probably much longer than you, because I was trying to do it by myself, trying to figure out who I wanted to target. But advice that I would give someone getting started, I don't care if you think it's not working, focus on one list. You got to give it at least 8 impressions. You have to touch them at least 8 times, either calling them, hitting them with postcards. You can't just go list to list and try to touch them once or twice and move on to the next list. So like the data that you have, use it. I mean, it works. Like we just went into our 4th week of, we just started a new marketing campaign. I think we're on week 4 now. And we're finally starting to pick up. But most people stop at once, 1 or 2, now 2 times they're done. Like, I've spent all my money. I don't know what else to do. So that's a huge problem. If you can't afford to at least make 8 impressions on a mailing campaign, that's not for you. You want to find ways to target people that don't cost you a lot of money.
Yes, that's definitely a key point. So anybody that's listening, Earl, you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say, Brett, at some point, just drop your affiliate code in the chat box so I can put it in the comments.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, let's try to bring value. So if you're watching us live here, man, listen, give us a like, give us a share, let everybody know that you care. If we're dropping it, if we're bringing some value to you, please share, with a couple of friends that are either in the business or, more importantly, thinking about getting in the business. All right. Back to you, Ambrose.
While we at it, I think they want to see the sign more. That's in the back of you.
Oh, what is it?
There it is.
What?
We buy houses.
That one. We buy houses.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the most important part right now, including Brett, obviously. But one of my other questions that I have, right, was that in chapter 3, you talked about setting up the appointment, walking the properties, and closing the deals. What could you please let us know more about that? Because most people don't really understand the process that comes in place when it comes to really dealing as a wholesaler.
Yeah, can you ask that question one more time? I'm sorry, I was trying to find this link for you guys. I got
That's okay. Yeah, in chapter 3, I said you talked about setting up the appointment, walking the properties,
Yeah.
and closing out the deals as well. Could you please let us know more about it?
Yeah. So, man, we could talk all week about this. Expectations. Earl, why do you go to someone's house?
I normally go to someone's house just so I have a better idea of what rehab costs really exist versus the information that we're getting on the phone. And also, quite honestly, Kivo is just killer at building rapport. He's our secret sauce. So that's the reason we go.
So what happens when you go to a house to get a rehab estimate and I go to that house to buy it?
You get
no,
it.
I mean,
Because he
right? Why do you go to the house?
So no, so in the triad, we've segmented different responsibilities. My responsibility is to find an end buyer. So when we walk into a property, I'm thinking three things. I'm thinking, what is the end buyer going to have to invest to get this house into HD condition? I'm thinking about what videos need to be shot. And I'm thinking about, Patrick, he does a lot of our video and photos, so for our end buyer, we want to make the process so smooth where by the time that they actually step into the house to take a look at it after we lock it up.
All right, there it is.
After we lock it up, there's got to be a 98% shot that they're going in to secure it before.
So let me ask you this. So when you go to that house to look at it, are you 100% confident that you're going there to buy it?
In my mind, if the numbers make sense.
Well, let me rephrase that. Give them an offer to buy it.
Right.
Oh, we always give an offer.
Okay.
100% at a time.
And the reason I asked that is because going back to putting more properties under contract. Dude, if you guys want to put more properties under contract, listen to what I gotta say. I shouldn't guarantee, all right, there's a very small percentage of investors that go there to buy the house that day. Like, so when I go, so there's three things that you want to always communicate to a seller. I got them on my board: time frame, agenda, outcome. And you communicate those things on the phone with them. You communicate it before you hang up the phone with them. You communicate it when you get to the appointment with them. You communicate it during the appointment with them, and you can communicate it to them when you're doing your presentation, which is when you're working on an offer. So time frame is like, hey Joe, thanks for calling today. Is there any questions you have about the process of us coming out to a property? This call is going to take 3 to 4 minutes. Do you have enough time to make sure that we can get through all the questions? So you're setting the tone. When you get to a house, it's like, hey John, you know what? This is going to take about 45 minutes to an hour. Is there anything that you think might interrupt that process? Most people want to know what we're going to offer or what this process looks like. Do you have any of those questions so I can address them at the moment before we do a walkthrough? So it's like you're setting the tone, right? So people, remember, people are afraid of what they don't know, and they're afraid of the sales process. So when you set a timeline, they know how long it's going to take. They don't have to worry what happens next, right? Agenda. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to walk around the property. So you're setting the agenda. At the end of the walkthrough, we're going to go sit down. I'm going to calculate some numbers, and I'm going to try to structure a deal that works best for your situation. Is that okay, John? Does that sound good to you? Yes. So that's the agenda. The outcome is, hey, look, we're going to always put our best foot forward, and what that looks like is an offer. That doesn't mean you have to say yes. So if the timing isn't right or the numbers don't work, that's totally fine. If you feel any pressure, you can stop me at any time, because the last thing I want to do is pressure you to move forward. But if the numbers work, are you ready to take that next step and work with us today? So like, you always want to have a picture of what the entire process looks like, because that removes the fear of what the process looks like, the fear of feeling pressured. So you always want to relieve the pressure by saying, it's okay if it doesn't work out. You know, we can part ways as friends, you know, no hard feelings. So there's a talk track, and communicating that throughout the sales process removes those fears, it removes pressure. And you're definitely be able to do more closable deals or close more closable deals. That's what John Martinez says, because we miss out on opportunities at closing closable deals because most times we don't dig deep enough to really figure out what their true motivation is behind the sale.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm gonna pass the mic to Earl now.
That was some major bombs that you just dropped. And guys, here's the point. You guys got to go get this book. When this book drops, look, I can't write fast enough. I'm getting the book. All right. So that's the big idea. All right. So let me see what else we got in the chamber. All right. So,
yeah, I don't even know how to. I don't even know, to be honest with you. I don't even know how to share the book yet. I have it on a PDF. And, so if anyone's interested, you guys will get my contact information at the end of this video. And what I can probably do, I can share I have a private group on Facebook. I just changed the name, but it's at Flip Number 4 Freedom. I'm pretty sure I can upload it there, so I'll probably have it on there as well.
Okay. It was Flip Number 4 Freedom, right?
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments for you guys.
All right. So here's the next thought I had. So we're moving from chapter 3 to chapter 4. You talked just a bit about tips and tricks for submitting a purchase agreement or a contract. And that obviously for a wholesaler is what legally allows us to have equitable interest in a property.
Yep.
What have you learned that it might be what we call your secret sauce when you're putting together your contracts of things that you didn't do initially day one, but you do all the time now?
Yeah, so we kind of touched on it already a little bit, but it's the value beyond price. And it's structuring that deal to address the other problems. So look, at John can't sell his home because he's afraid where he's going to move. And I say, hey, John, how important it is for you to find a place to move? Very important. So if we can agree on a price and I can help you find a place to live, are you ready to move forward today? So, you know, you're really addressing what the problem is. It's hey, is there, you know, even if here's a great talk track right here. Hey, look, even if we agree on a number, you know, and I want to buy your home and you want to sell your home, what will be one thing that would stop that deal from moving forward today? Is it family members? Is it timeline? So you're a moving deal killer. So you're structuring the deal. You're getting that deal at a discount because look, you don't like I rarely even talk about price when I go see a seller because I'm not worried about the price. I want to know why they want to sell their home. And if I can figure out why they want to sell their home, then I can think about price. But it does take experience to be comfortable enough to sit down at a table, crunch the numbers, and give them an offer that day. And if they say no, or I'm not interested, or if they say, oh, I got to think about it, then I simply say like, hey, that's totally fine. I completely understand. You know, I can't leave an open-ended contract on the table with you today, so I'm just going to have to consider that a no, and that's totally fine. That, you know, no offense to me, we're writing offers on other properties this week. Feel free to call us back if it seems like you're not ready to move forward. Would you like me to stop right now? And I'm kind of like breezing through that talk track. But you want to, you know, that's creating fear of a loss, but also addressing whether or not, how motivated they are. And if they're not, maybe I missed out. Maybe I missed really missed their motivation if they're saying no at that point. So it's really just structuring those deals by digging deeper to why someone would want to sell me their home at a discount.
So Brett, so I want to make sure I'm not labeling this the wrong way. So in your appointment, so you're revisiting the 4 pillars of motivation. Mm-hmm. And for those that don't know, pillar number 1 is their time frame. 2 is their price. Number 3 is their the condition of the house. And number 4 is, you know, what problem you're potentially able to solve. And so once you kind of revisit those 4 pillars of motivation, it sounds like inside your contract, if you get to that point, you're making some provision in that contract to reflect,
Yeah.
whatever that problem was.
Yeah. So I'm, like I said, I'm addressing those problems and saying, hey, if I can solve X, Y, and Z, then are you willing to sell your home today? And if you get a yes from there, like if you feel like you have a strong enough pain point to give them a price, then I'll move forward and work on a price from there. And it's and that talk track goes something like this, like, hey, I'd love to pay, $100,000 for your home. That guarantee I'm not going to lose any money on this deal. And I know you're not going to pay that. But what if I started at 120,000? So you're setting, you're going in a little low, kind of shocking them a little, then you're coming up in price to make it feel a little bit better about that price. And if there's no sorcery behind doing that, it's not, but we're just trying to gauge where they are in their price by doing that, how close we can be to where they need to be. And I don't ask people, like, I don't get into comps. I don't get into what neighbors' homes are selling for. I'm avoiding all those conversations with the seller with my talk tracks. We don't even talk about those things. And if we do, I have a way to get around them. So when it comes to price, it's not, hey, what would you sell me your home for? It's what would you like to walk away with? And that can completely change the tone of that conversation too, by simply asking that question as opposed to what would you like to sell me your home for? What's the amount? Because someone might feel better walking away with 10 grand, but they might say, no, well, the neighbor's home sold for this. And then you got to go down that whole talk track, which is really like, there really isn't a lot of value going down there because they're always comparing apples to oranges. And it's a hard conversation to go down because it just gets lost. And you could confuse them even more when you get into numbers. People don't make rational decisions. They're not logical decisions. That's why it's hard to talk numbers. Mm-hmm. They make decisions based off of emotions. So those are what you have to address. And their emotions are what drives them to make that sale or that with you. And it's, I'm moving. I need money for my kid's doctor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, I mean, you just dropped a huge nugget because just that one phrase of what would you like to walk away with changes really a whole bunch of, it cuts through a lot of conversation, a lot of, fluff, if you will.
Yeah.
Because really, it's really trying to go back to, what they're, how you can solve that problem. I believe we just put together a deal out in Syracuse, and we had a seller, two people on their second marriage, both brought homes into the relationship. And so the wife, all she wanted to do was to get back that 10 grand that her mom and dad loaned her all those years ago. And that was her goal. I just want to make back that 10 grand. So yeah. Kind of knowing that made it so much easier for us to try to negotiate a deal that made her feel like she was winning.
Yeah. And I'll drop another kind of like talk track because I really like to use this because when I meet with the seller, they know I'm just one option. You don't have to work with me. I'm one option, and it's fine if you decide to go another direction. And I'll even say, hey, like you could be using an agent. You could, you plan on would you run it? How come you're not listing it on the MLS? I want you to know that I'm just one option for you. That doesn't mean I'm the right option. But if you don't sell it to me, what are your plans? So that's another way to dig deeper because most sellers don't have a plan. And this is, I might go off topic here, but there's people that do not like what we do because we do it way better than they do. And I'm not going to say who they are. But like, that's a perfect opportunity. I'm giving the opportunities. Like I went to a house yesterday, right? They had 3 realtors walk through. They hated all 3 of them. None of them said, I spent an hour and a half at this house and just talked with these sellers. They're like, you're the only one who stood here and talked to us. You're the only one who was honest. You're the only one who listened to what we had to say. Right? And that's the key to this business. If you have people who really need help, all you gotta do is sit there and listen to them talk and ask questions. Be their friend. Pretend like they're your mom or your dad or your sister and listen. They'll sell you their home, but most people aren't going to do that because they're just there to make $1 off of them, and that goes for investors and realtors. It's unfortunate, but we do deals because we listen to people, or at least good investors.
Solid. I got one question before I pass it back over to you, Ambrose. Okay, so chapter 5, we're kind of moving through your book here. You talked about, how to close more deals.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've kind of been building in that direction since we started.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. So
I'm going to ask you, how do you close more deals, Earl? Well, Ambrose, I asked you a question, so ask Ambrose. How do you close more closable deals?
We are hungry, so
I'm
work
hungry.
hard.
All right. So what does that look like though?
So we basically have, like Eric said, we have 3 steps. We usually make sure that in order for us to go to our property, we have to make sure the seller is actually motivated. Yeah. So I ask the questions. Keith will get on the phone and basically, try to make sure that the relationship is warm. And then Earl, he puts the numbers together. So we have a 3-step process that we go through before we can really walk.
So what is the end result of that process? What are you doing at the end of those 3 processes? So
the end result is Earl definitely calling the seller, having a conversation with that seller. Once we go to the property, we see the property. Once everything is, is in place, and we present the contract to the seller. Earl,
boom. That's it.
So present a contract.
Present a contract.
Okay, yeah. Earl usually brings in a contract and gives make sure the number is right with the seller.
So you come into my house, I'm the seller, you walk through my house, and you leave and you give me a verbal offer. Do I think you're serious?
No.
If you want to do more deals, you need to put an offer in the seller's hand. If they like the numbers or not, hey, Mr. Seller, this is what I can offer you in our house at this point. If the timing, it seems like the timing isn't right, and if the numbers don't work, that's totally okay. Here, hold on to this. If you want to use it at a later date, feel free to give me a call and we can discuss it down the road. Is it okay if I follow up with you in 6 months? Because Brent, you did the 4 pillars, Earl, right? That's Mr. TTP, Brent Daniels, whose birthday is today, I think, or yesterday. I love Brent Daniels.
Yes, sir.
He's wild. I'm gonna get him on my podcast.
That'd be dope.
But he really made an impression on me to make sure that I am putting offers in people's hands. And then I have my friend Josh Bacon, who's freaking awesome. He's in my mastermind Ascend. He's like, Brett, you're not writing offers on the spot? I'm like, no. And he just sighed like, what's wrong with you, man? And I'm like, I didn't even have to say, what do you mean? I was just, my response in my head was, I'm afraid. I'm scared to do that. But he really helped me pinpoint why I'm not closing more deals, because I'm not writing people offers.
So how long does it take for you to write?
Yeah.
I'm going through a super paradigm shift here. You're blowing me away. So and maybe I'm spoiled because I'm so comfortable using DocuSign.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the truth is, I think my first deal in this game, I was using a non-New York purchase agreement, and it was 1 page, and it was short, sweet. It wasn't super confusing. And then as I learned, I was like, well, New York State has a 7-page form.
Yeah.
And so I think I've gotten away from putting a physical offer in a person's hand because that 7-page form is so daunting.
It is. So here's what I can tell you how to address that. Attorney approval. You signing this contract today is not legally binding at all until you talk with your attorney and you say, yes, I understand this. I'm ready to move forward. They can sign that contract, and until they have attorney approval, they can just shred it up, and it doesn't mean a dang thing. That's how I remove that fear of having someone sign a contract like that. And I said, hey, look, if I could go through every bullet on this contract, but I'm going to do you a disservice. So I'll go through the important parts. When I get home, I'm going to scan this document and I'm going to send it to your attorney, and I'm going to send it to my attorney, and I'm going to, your attorney will call you today or tomorrow for you to review that contract with you. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You can terminate it that day, because if you feel uncomfortable and you don't like the terms that we negotiated, that's okay. I don't want you to feel pressured. I don't want you to do something you don't want to do. Like, it's not about the money. You can make more money. Like, if you make that person feel good throughout that entire process, they're going to leave you a $10,000 Google review. I get people leaving Google reviews. I don't even buy their house. So, because in the situations may vary. They may decide to keep it, or the numbers didn't work, or the timing wasn't right because they waited too long, and there's just nothing you can do at that point. But that's it, man.
So Brett, I think you answered my question. So you are using the New York State.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I do walk through it with them. I walk through all the important parts.
Okay.
But I'm confident to get a signature because, well, number one, they need to trust me. So I have that talk track. Hey, look, if you feel pressured at any time, just tell me, because I don't want you to feel pressured at all. Stop me at any point. I can go home. It's fine. Because the last thing I want to do is make you feel uncomfortable, because I already know you just told me about X, Y, and Z, and I don't want to add pressure on top of that. So I'm removing that fear right there, that they don't have to say yes in this moment. If they say no, it's fine. So I walk them through that contract. I get to the end of it, and I just simply ask them, hey, this is, are you ready to sign this? And if not, what's preventing you from doing that? Right. And that's a tough conversation to have. Because I know people will say, like, well, you're pressuring them by asking them that question again. My question to them would be like, how? They just told me they want to sell me their home. They just told me they have all these problems. And when they say they want to move forward and then say no at the end, I have to address what's going on in their head. And my goal there is to give them peace of mind that like, look, hey, even if you sign this, it's okay. You can get out of this tomorrow if you want, or you can get out of this in the next 5 days. That's totally fine. I just want you to be comfortable. And if you're not, I'm going to pull the contract away. And when you're ready, you can call me. I'll do that. I'll pull contracts away from people if they're not ready to sell. I don't want them to feel pressured. That's how I get more deals done.
I'm loving it, man. Loving it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Ambrose, you got it.
Yeah. So I have another question, right? And this goes back to your business as well. So talk about the benefit of joining your affiliate program.
Yeah. So I got a lot going on now, you guys. The link that I provided through PropStream, that's just a free 7-day trial. So you can go on there. I think you can pull a free list of data. If you want to skip trace them, that costs money. You can skip trace out of there. You can send postcards out of there. I think they're maybe like 34 cents a postcard. But that's a pretty decent CRM to track things. And I think you are talking about the affiliate program in the book. It took me a second. All right. So guys, what's more valuable than money? Earl, I already asked you this. Time, right? So what happens when I have people reach out to me all the time asking me the same question over and over again?
You're losing time.
It takes a lot of time, right?
Yep.
And it's not that I don't want to help those people. It's just that I have specific time allotted for certain things. I've gotten really good at time blocking. And the truth is, when you're in the middle of something and you're trying to help someone, are you really doing them a service? Because you can't give them 100% of your time, right?
You really can't. No.
You can't. So it's hard for people to understand that concept at first. So what we decided to do with that affiliate program is really just have an easy button for people that want to do more deals. So we have, if you scroll down to the bottom of the book, you can click that link and you can fill out a form, and it talks about your goals, your experience, what would you like to get out of real estate? How much, why do you want to get started? What's your why? Things like that. It goes a little bit deeper than just making some extra money. I want to know why you want to do it. And if you really want to do it, I'll help you. But my help looks like this. And I have all the steps laid out for what that process looks like and what happens next and how we can both help each other reach our goals. So I can just send people there. They can fill out the form. If they have a lead that they want us to market to, like if you don't have any marketing money and you have a lead that went cold, give us that lead. We'll send you a joint venture agreement. We'll sign it. We'll sign it before you send us the lead, and we'll put it in our CRM. Everything that we do is automated. So we'll auto drip text RBMs. We'll manually call them. And when we close that deal, you'll get a percentage of that deal. You can bring us in to negotiate that deal for you. If you want us to help sell that deal, we can market that deal to our buyers list for you. So you can be involved as little or as much as you'd like in that process with the three, I think there's 3 or 4 options for you. One's a referral. You just want to give us a referral for a property, we'll go after it. Or do you want to learn? You want us to come in and negotiate and you just watch how we do it? We're going to take, that's an 80-20 split. We're going to take 80% of that deal, but you do that 2 or 3 times, you don't need us anymore. You just saved yourself probably a whole year's worth of time trying to do that, figure that out on your own, making no money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, where am I? Oh, my mic's on. Sorry about that. So this would be super cool for me and the Triad to be able to have that affiliate link. So as we are talking to people and they're super excited about this wonderful industry of real estate, for us to just be able to shoot them your affiliate button, because we truly and honestly want people to be successful in this. And sometimes we feel a little bad that we're putting people off.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And here's the cool thing, you guys. This is something, I haven't, I'm going to have my friend Matt Fullerton on the podcast to talk about this, but he did, he used to work for a big company, one of those huge home buying companies. And I don't want to kill the story. I want him to tell it. But he had a non-compete. And what he did was he went to other investors and he took their cold data. Taking their cold data, he did, I think, around $800,000 that year. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
So you guys, you specifically, right? You have cold data. Why not give it to someone like me who already has a system built where I don't have to do anything? We have call centers. We have people who respond on our website when people are visiting it. We can put them on our direct mail list. We can do all these things, and that's money you would have never made because you're not doing anything with that list anymore. It's just sitting there. So he was very successful. He still buys old data from people. That's something we're probably going to offer to other investors at some point. It's just kind of when the timing is right. But let's be honest, man, a lot of people have a lot of data that's just sitting there doing nothing. And we can make you money that you would have never made by reaching back out to those people.
Well, I feel like I'm in an episode of A Godfather, man. And you just made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Right? You don't have to do anything. You get to make money. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, listen, we're about 40 minutes in, and we want to be super respectful of your time because we know there's a ton of other appointments and obligations that you rearranged to be here. But can we get you to do this?
Yeah.
Do you think we could bring you back at a future date and you can bring your partner on with you?
Totally. Yeah, we can totally bring Brett on.
Yeah, that would be boss, because we're always looking at how successful partnerships work. We're understandably learning how to best utilize the talents that each one of us in the Triad bring, but we always do it right.
If I could give anyone advice on partnerships, I would just say be careful. If someone comes to you and promises you to help you do something and they don't have a plan for what that looks like, you run. You want to go through what that looks like. What I mean by that is, like, how much money are you splitting? What are your roles? What's the timeline? What's taking place now for that to happen? Because I've seen too many people, and it's happened to me, that Other people make promises that they never fulfill because they don't have a plan for it. And that goes for any business. If you don't have a plan for a business, you put as a no plan, plan to fail, right? So what do you think is going to happen in that relationship if there's no plan and there's no model for what that relationship looks like? It's going to fail, and you're the one who's going to get hurt because you just wasted a whole year working for free for someone that just promised to do all these things for you. So I'm more than happy to talk to anyone who's interested in getting into a partnership. I will mention you through that what that conversation should look like, because it happens all the time. It happened to me, and I would not want to see anyone go through that same thing.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, I think me and the Triad, we kind of synergize really well. You know, we've been told by my accountant that we need to have something in writing. And I keep kicking the can down the road because, you know, that just hasn't been our focus at this point.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest spending a day. Like, if you guys aren't having team meeting, I'm sure you're having team meetings, but like I would really plan out the next couple months with scheduling at least an hour to walk through what your roles are individually. Because if there's overlap, some of you guys are wasting time. You should really know. I can tell you from experience, if you guys, you know, Lord willing, you guys get super busy and start blowing up, which I think you guys will, you're not going to know what everyone else is doing. Like, there needs to be communication, and then, you know, people can get bitter, people can get resentful because, you know, someone has more responsibility or perceived responsibility, and the other person's like, well, I'm doing all this and he's not doing anything. Mm-hmm. So you constantly got to go over those roles to refresh yourself why you're doing it and what those roles are, and be okay with what that looks like in the future. And you need to think about the future and how those roles are going to affect each other in the future and how they may change. But I'll talk all day about this, but one important thing that I really feel like is super important is, like, Patrick's on this call. How old is he?
You cut out. Say it one more time, Brett.
I was just wondering how old Patrick is.
Oh, my son, Patrick.
I'm 17.
17. So what I would tell you, like, I'm a Christian, and I believe we all have that God has given us these amazing gifts. Sometimes we don't know what they are, but just because I'm 37 and I've done this for however many years, that doesn't mean I'm any better than you. That doesn't make me better than you, because you add value to me. You might have a special gift or abilities that I don't have. So when you go into a partnership, like, you're not coming in, you're not going into that partnership, well, I have to do all these things to make this person like me. I don't have to do all these things to feel a certain way. Like, you're going into a partnership because you mutually bring value to the other person, and that other person sees that perceived value, whether it's very small and he can help mentor you and cultivate that. That's what a relationship should really look like. So what happens is, with someone like Patrick wants to get started in investing, he's all excited and you know, he'll bend over backwards for someone, and then he gets nothing out of it because he's like, well, I don't have anything to offer, so I'm just going to do all these things for this person, and one day hope that he sees my value. That should never be what a relationship looks like, and that's never how anyone should feel entering into a relationship with someone.
I appreciate that, Brett. That's
yeah,
super. And this wasn't a question I thought about asking you, but it's all about pivoting in these days.
Yeah, man.
So if you had a young person like a Patrick who had to make that decision what to do after high school, you know, what advice would you give them in terms of, you know, the value of college versus, you know, exploring, you know, what entrepreneurs think about and dream about and all that other stuff?
Patrick, are you going to college?
Yes, I am.
Is that a decision that you made, or your dad helped you make?
No, that's my decision.
Awesome. I think that's amazing. Because I personally, this is my thought, and people are totally going to disagree with me, but what I've seen over and over again, unless you're going to school for something specific, like a doctor, a lawyer, things like that, you do not need a college education. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs that we know, they're well below average students. And you can do some data research, you can listen to a bunch of podcasts, but it's one of the coolest things that I ever learned was that your IQ has a very is a very low indicator of your success. So an IQ is someone who's very smart in school, right? What a much greater indicator for success is someone's EQ, their emotional quotient, how they deal, how they think logically, how they communicate, how they work through their emotions. So it's really cool. They did a study in high school where the smartest students and the most popular students, they weren't the most successful. It was the nicest students. And I thought that was just really cool. So my take on college is like, if you're not going for something specific, like I don't see the need for it. And like I said, some people might completely disagree with me, but look, I just started, I think Brett's going to college, Brett William. I mean, he already started, but he'll tell you like, I don't need to do this. I hope he would agree with me that I think it's just how his parents want to see him do that. And they admitted that to him. But he's 18. He will far exceed anything that I do because he's just smarter at certain things than I am, numbers and data. And he's very good with people. But he doesn't need a college education to be a millionaire, and he understands that. Or to be a billionaire, whatever he wants to be. And I know he'll agree with this. He wouldn't be, and this isn't me being prideful, but he would not be where he is now if it wasn't for our relationship. All I did was tap into his potential and help him see it. Then that's nothing special I didn't on my end. It's just I was encouraging him, building him up, and just asking him questions. And that's what a mentor or relationship should look like when someone younger is working with someone. It should be more of like a mentorship, because if I can help someone reach their goals, they're going to help me reach my goals. That's just how it should work. That's the relational versus transactional, right? Now I'm learning from him, and he's bringing me on for a ride on this storage facility ride, and I get to learn from him and how to look at these deals and structured deals. And I mean, because that's where I fall short, is getting creative with the finances, because I'm not comfortable with big numbers and spreadsheets and, these long-winded returns and equity splits and, all that stuff that it just makes me uncomfortable because I'm not good with numbers.
Brett, that was super insightful, man. Being an educator by vocation, it was an interesting transition for me over the last several years teaching in the Rochester City School District, when I had to say to myself, is there value in pushing someone towards college when their gifts and their talents may be somewhere else?
Yeah.
And I literally have folks that have gone the vocational route and have started their own businesses, and they have the ability of having the freedom of having the time and the money, whereas some of my college educated folks can't say that.
Yeah, I absolutely hate our school system. It makes me depressed, because so many kids go through middle school, high school, with people telling them that they have learning disorders when they don't. They don't need Ritalin. They're not, like people, our teachers in our education systems, like we set kids up for failure because we tell them they're going to be failures because they have disorders, when the truth is they just learn different. Everyone doesn't learn the same, and it makes me sad that that's what happens to kids, and they come out of high school thinking they're stupid, thinking that they're not smart. It's not that they're not smart, it's just they have unique abilities and they learn differently, and I absolutely detest hearing and seeing that happen all the time. It makes me sad.
All right, so that was our pregnant pause. Just taking it all in. Again, man, Brett, I did not intend you to keep you for a full hour.
Oh, you're good, man.
I'm so happy that you had the flexibility in here. So somebody's Google voice is going on.
Yeah, I never use this number anymore. Let me 1 second. I don't even know how to turn this off. Give it a second, it'll hang up.
Hey, no problem. I get that myself.
Yeah, I don't even know how to shut this off, so I apologize, you guys.
Your microphone is turned off, Ambrose.
You just gotta go.
There we go. They hung up.
So next time, you just gotta go on Google Voice, and you will see all the missed calls. I always have that as well, so it's a lot easier.
All right. Well, this completes another episode. I'm gonna, slowly get out of the stream mode, because what I want to make sure I do, Brett, before we actually wrap this up, is I want to make sure I have all your links for your affiliate program as well as the prop stream. I want to make sure all of that is in the comment area, so people who are checking it out. It looks like at any one point we might have had 20 people tapping in and tapping out. So that's wonderful, because that's our focus, our goal, to bring some value. And as always, Real Housing Relief, our goal is to revitalize the community one property at a time. All right.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate having me on the show today, man. It was awesome. And yeah, anyone can reach out to me at any time. You want me to just shout out where people can find me?
Yeah, really. Yeah. And then I'll
yeah, cool. So like Facebook and Instagram, it's just @flip4freedom. I do have a private group. I just changed the name to like something Rochester Mentorship Group. Like that's a page that you can come on, that I'll give you my time for free. Now I do have a coaching platform where I teach people how to find, fund, fix, and flip properties. I'm not selling you that, but my point is, people pay me to do this, and I'm open to come on there and answer questions and even create video content around what you need help with. And time to time, I will provide a link for you guys to hop on a 15-minute call every month. So there's help here, guys. Like, use it. I know it took me almost 10 years to really ask for help and let that prideful ego go. And at that point, I was already bitter and resentful. So like, if you have goals, just reach out to people. There's plenty of people, not just me, but Earl, Ambrose, Owens. You can go to the Freedom First Real Estate Investment Association. There's plenty of people who are willing to help. You just need to be willing to listen to what someone has to say and build those relationships. So join that private group. I just put the link to the affiliate program for the book. Actually, I'll have the book on my Facebook page somewhere. And if you scroll down to the bottom of that book, it'll say the last page, it'll say click here. That'll take you to a Google sheet where I ask you some questions on what your goals are, what you want to accomplish by doing this. And that's a great way for us to introduce ourselves and cultivate a relationship.
All right. Wonderful, man. Again, Brett, man, you knocked the ball right out of the park. We so much appreciate it. All right, man. We will get back to you guys next week. Same time, same place. We don't know who's going to be on yet, so it's going to be a surprise. But I'm sure it's going to be content filled, and we want to provide some value for you guys. All right, so I'm going to stop these live stream right now. Thanks everybody for jumping on.
Have a good one.